Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. Colin McGraw. Going to be hopping on a Zoom session here with another YouTube creator named Paul. Excited to dig into, is Medellin dangerous or not? So this is going to be a casual conversation. So, sit back, relax. We're going to be giving tips throughout this video. So make sure you enjoy. So yeah, let's welcome in Paul. Welcome back. Excited here. I've got Paul joining me over here. I just discovered Paul's YouTube channel a couple days ago here. He's out in Medellin right now. I was just living there. Yeah, I was just living there the past 2 years. So I wanted to bring someone else on to give a different perspective, but we're just going to go into a little bit, is Medellin actually dangerous? Get our perspectives, what we've heard, what we've experienced, and we'll dig into it here. But Paul, I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll jump into it.
Okay. All right. What's up, guys? Buenas tardes. So, yeah, I'm Paul Morrissey. I'm living out here in Medellin. I've been here 2 months. I had been in Thailand for 6 years prior to this, and I've been in Spain for 3 years prior to that. So I've been on the road, obviously, with trips back to Ireland for like a good 10 years. And yeah, I teach online as my main source of income, teach English to Chinese. I've had a couple of other little side things I've done here and there in Thailand, like that, to lesser or greater success. So I've always kept the teaching because to be honest, it's fun at this stage. I don't really treat it as a job. I feel like I'm close to, the YouTube's taken off nicely now. And I feel that I have enough freedom to make the videos, and the teaching gives me a bit of discipline. And I even enjoy the conversations that I get to have with the people I teach. I see it as a good little routine to have every day. So here I am in Colombia, and it's been 2 months and change now, and I'm loving it. That said, I am going to Mexico for my visa renewal, and it's going to be a South America whistle-stop tour over the next year. I'm going to do Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil, and let's take it on from there.
Man, that's a good way to go about it. But
yeah,
I mean, jumping right into it, Paul. I think you told me you've been there 2 months now. Have you been robbed yet? Anything yet?
I haven't.
No problems?
No, I haven't been robbed. No way. Not
troubles. Or like, have you felt like nervous on the streets, or I guess what's the first couple months been like? Because I'm sure you've heard like people think Medellin's dangerous, but you've been there a little bit.
No, I love this conversation. I love this conversation because I feel like I can really chop it up in a lot of different dimensions. So, like, I was on the Irish Times podcast with Pete, and he gave me the real, I would call that like a very generic and almost naive question. Is it dangerous? I replied back to him, define dangerous. What does dangerous mean? Like, so people have the whole, narco Escobar perception of Colombia. Dangerous isn't just getting shot in the head with a gun, or being robbed at gunpoint or knife point. Danger could be domestic violence, could be gender violence, could be standard fighting violence, which is a commonality of, say, UK and Ireland, where there's less threat of being robbed with a weapon, but there's a higher threat on a daily basis of getting into a scrap with a guy who mean mugged you, a drunken teenager. I'm not saying that happens like a high probability at my age anymore, but I'm just saying, like, that has a way higher likelihood in Ireland, London, and Paris, places where I've lived. Here, because of the legacy of Escobar, and because there is a legacy of organized crime, that creates a spectacular, like that's spectacular in your mind. It's like a plane crash versus a car crash, or there's a stat about 9/11, right, where people didn't travel the next year after 9/11, but you had a higher rate of being robbed in a city like Chicago or New York than had you taken the flight to a city like Bangkok, say, for your holiday.
Yeah.
Because it's an irrational fear that you'll have an accident in an airplane because of what happened 9/11. I didn't want to bring up 9/11. Now it's a sensitive topic. Same goes for being robbed at gunpoint. Is a spectacular image in the mind. It creates an irrational fear.
But I guess for me, man, like what I think about when I think of danger, when I thought of Medellin, is I just thought about getting robbed. Like guns obviously came with it. I knew drugs was a big part of it, but I just thought about, am I gonna have a higher likelihood? I'm gonna get robbed in Medellin versus like other cities around the world. For me, I never was robbed in my 2 years there. But I'm curious, if have you heard of other people getting robbed or anything like that? I mean, like, did you ever have concerns walking in streets? Like, all right, this is a little bit dodgier of a situation than other situations.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So leaving Thailand, being in Dublin for a month where I was a bit depressed and like having to get myself motivated, get myself up to teach online in that gray, drab weather where I hadn't been in a while. And now I have to get myself up for Colombia. I'm going out there by myself. It was a bit weird. And a lot of the content I was watching on Colombia was freaking the fuck out of me. It was making it seem like Ice Cube's good day. Like, and nobody I know got robbed in South Central. Like, I have to say it was a good day. I had the idea that to get home in Medellin at night was like, gracias a Dios.
Right.
Like, that would be a success. It's not like that. So, all those videos that scopolamina is another threat that creates an irrational fear. The devil's breath drug, which is a shocking thing that happens, unfortunately, by scumbag women who are doing that to men. The robberies that can happen, it does exist. There's certain parts of the city where it does exist more prevalently than others.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this conversation between me and Paul, make sure you go ahead and like the video, comment if you guys have any questions, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. All right, let's keep going with this conversation.
I'm actually in a place called Bello. Did you ever come to Bello? Did you ever stay in Bello?
Man, I actually never visited Bello. I lived in Belén, Laureles, Poblado, Benedicto. Everyone told me about Bello, but I just never made it up that far.
Right. So I'm looking out. It's beautiful here. Looking out the lit up apartments on the mountain there. I could maybe even wheel my table over and show you in a minute. So I'd heard about this even. I met a couple of Colombian ladies at a night in Dublin. There was a culture night, and their jaws dropped when I told them Bello. They were like, "Oh, don't go to Bello." Like, and I was at this point I was getting frustrated because I'd heard a lot of YouTube stuff. I'd watched a lot of YouTube stuff. A lot of people, even in Thailand, a Venezuelan guy, and I was like, "Oh, you being a blonde, light-skinned, blue-eyed gringo, like you're gonna llamaras la atención," and that is true. I do garner attention, but only in a positive way. I've never been mean mugged once. That might be a slight exaggeration. Like, I promise that. Like, it's all love. You don't even hear the word gringo that much. Like you do hear farang in Thailand as much. If you do hear it, it's endearing. I've never really heard it said pejoratively. Hey, gringo. Like, it's hey, gringo. I'll generally ask someone, say, hey, I'll tell them my name and like, let's not be saying gringo too much. But just let me stick with, so Bello, I've been hearing all this stuff about it. And I just said to this lady, like, okay, tell me something concrete. I hate the generic dangerous, because like I said at the top, dangerous could be domestic violence, could be robbery, could be sexual violence. It could be fighting. It could be, a danger of drowning if you live by the beach. And, like there's different levels of danger. Yeah. So there's different aspects to danger. And I said, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, are they going to rob me? They're going to try to rob me. Because like, I often do say as well, people like, good luck trying to rob me. Like, it's not that easy to rob me. Like, you think people just want to be out with a gun in the middle of the day? You got to have a weapon.
They know you're Irish, so they're like, I'm not going to take an Irishman. They're like, I'm not going to fight with him.
No, what I'm trying to say is like, you get the idea that this is a wild west from what you hear, and that dudes are just going to be confident to run up on you with a knife point and gunpoint in the middle of the day. They just aren't going to confidently try to rob you in the middle of the day. And even at night, here in Nikia Bello, I promise you, nothing can ever happen to you. Like, it's not like that here. It's straight up is not like that. It's a familial, genial little. It's cute. This is actually a cute town where like it's just arepas out on the street and there's music out on the street. There's no threat of violence. I'm not even overselling it. There just is not. Like, it's families out walking their dogs. There's polideportivos, multi-sports parks everywhere where all the families are still walking back from their training matches. Could it be football, volleyball, basketball at 10 o'clock at night? Then they stop for a bit of food, and it's just, it ain't like that.
Well, man, I'll just play devil's advocate for a second. Like I said, 2 years, nothing happened to me, but I had heard of plenty of my Colombian friends that had been robbed before.
Hmm.
Usually kind of how it worked is like a moto would just come up on them with a gun, and
Jeez.
that's how they would get their phone stolen or something like that.
Yeah. This is in
But
Medellin.
in Medellin, yeah, all over Medellin. But what I would say, like in addition to that, yeah, that happens, but it's not common. Like you're saying, it's like that's what people perceive as just happening all the time. But I would say no, I wouldn't say it's like all the time. What I would say where I saw robbery the most was like in Poblado, or like just drunk backpackers leaving bars at 2 in the morning, and then a gun gets pulled on them, and that's
You,
when
you,
they're
wit-
getting the
you
phone.
witnessed that. You did see that.
I've seen that before, and
Yeah.
I've heard plenty of stories where people got pickpocketed or something happened in clubs. And so what I always saw was it was just around like the party scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can't get drunk like in Medellin like you can back home and just stumble out. Like it's not your country. Like
Fuck around and find out.
you fuck around and
Fuck
find
around and
out.
find
Yeah,
out.
you're gonna find out
Um,
quick.
Here's a good tip for you guys. If you guys are going out, I would say dress down. Don't be flashy. Don't be wearing expensive watches or expensive jewelry or chains or anything like that. Dress down. Why increase your risk when you're wearing expensive jewelry or expensive watches or stuff like that? You'll notice in Medellin the fashion's pretty simple, especially for males. It's much more just a plain t-shirt or a button up, jeans and white shoes. Don't get crazy with it. Dress down. When you start dressing up, your risk level goes up a little bit. So that's a good safety tip for you guys.
I'm not even that guy anymore. Like I don't need to be in the club till 3 a.m. anymore. I live a different type of life. Like I'm more into day gaming and
Yeah.
chilling by the bar. And I don't need to be in the club. Like I've seen it time and time again. It's problems most of the time. It's not. It doesn't bring me joy to be in a club at 3 o'clock. It gets toxic. It gets dark. It gets messy. And here all the more so. I'll tell you the truth. I haven't been to a big club here yet. I just haven't got around to it. Like I'm late. I'm getting to know people in a different way. I'm hanging out for dinners and stuff,
Yeah. Man,
and
that's
um and I've got my lots to do like with my content, and I just don't. The club scene, like it doesn't. I'm hitting bars here locally, like, and I'm dancing at bars and stuff here in Bello, but big clubs down in Poblado, I've not been because like it doesn't appeal to me right now. I'm not
yeah.
scared to go there or anything, but like I want to have a good group of mates with whom I
Yeah.
have a real sense of trust, and we can go out and we can have a real good night together. You know.
Paul's
Um,
making me look bad, guys, because I'm the one drinking a beer here. He's drinking water over there. Like
you're
I
good. You're
look
good.
horrendous right now.
No, it's a beer, man. Come on, I drink beer every day, but usually at night time.
One thing I'll say, guys, about Paul, and like one thing that I really liked about him and his channel is he does a fantastic job of interviewing people in the streets. I don't
Oh,
do that as much. That's one thing I want to start getting to a point of doing. Right now, I'm just talking about my experiences on my YouTube channel, but I think Paul does a fantastic job of that in the streets, interviewing people. You're getting the local flavor. So make sure you guys go check out his channel. Definitely subscribe. And
thank you very much. And I want to do that like better and better. I love going back and watching how I've done it because it's a hard skill in the moment with a stranger speaking the foreign language as well. And I'm going to get so much better at that. Trust me. I'm going to get really, really good at the interviewing.
I think there is danger associated with like being an expat. Like there is a perception you are more of a target, but I think you need to know that. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I think you are looked at more of as a target, and you just need to understand how to adjust more. Like you need
Yeah.
to go street smart. You need to just have your guard up, and yeah, just avoid situations. Like don't put yourself in these 2 a.m. situations, or
Yeah.
it's just bad luck and you can't help it. But I think there is just a big misconception. Like every city, you could just have bad luck. Like every city around the world, I think you could just have bad luck, be in the wrong
Yeah.
situation. Like there's times, like I'm in New York now, and I feel like there's some parts of the city that I'm in, and I don't feel as comfortable. Like I felt more comfortable in Medellin than I do in this
Yeah.
situation I'm in New York City.
Yeah.
So I think it's all relative. You're
Another tip for you guys is when you're going out, not even just a night out, but just like during the day, make sure you just take what you need. So don't take your passport with you. Make sure you have a picture of that on your phone. Take out one credit card, one bank card, but don't take all your bank cards out or all your credit cards in your wallet. Make sure you keep some of that at home, and just take out enough cash you need throughout the day. You don't take out all your cash. So that way, if something were to happen or you are in a tough situation, say you do get robbed, you're not losing everything and you're still going to be in a fine situation. That really increases your level of security, being in Medellin. So that's a good safety tip for you guys. All right, let's keep going.
Paul, quick question for you. I mean, you've been there 2 months. Would you would you let safety deter people from moving to Medellin?
No way. No way. No way.
Yeah.
No. Safety is definitely not the issue that as I'm past the euphoria stage now. So like my first month was pure euphoria. Oh, it's all so amazing here. Then you become a bit more pragmatic and realistic. Like I'm looking at things now. I'm reasonably settled. How do I really feel here now after the first month of wow in South America? Like I've passed the safety test. Definitely. I've said it on my videos, on my TikTok, and my YouTube that it's going to be a theme I'm going to carry on with that. I even have Colombians like, cuidado con el celular, be careful with the cell phone. Nobody here in Nikia Bello, and I highly doubt it as well, despite the horror stories, like just by walking around Centro or these areas, Prado, which I haven't been down to too often, I've only been like twice. It's not like take out your phone to grab a quick video and the phone's gone. Like it's not like that. It's right. That cannot happen here in Nikia, in Bello. There's parts of Bello where possibly, but even still, I think it's overblown and exaggerated. Like I have not
very, very exaggerated. Yeah.
I have not seen a robbery. I have not seen a fight. I've seen one fight. The kids. I played soccer in my cancha with the kids. I'm like famous in my unidad. They all like Paul, and they all invite me to play. And these two kids like were proper teed off on each other. Like they were punching, which we never really did as kids. We'd get into roll around on the ground, scrapping and stuff, headlocks. Yeah. But like they were, I think 11 and 9, and this one guy hits like 2 clean punches on his friend. I broke him apart, and they apologized. Like, but yeah, they kicked off quickly, and they're tough. They're tough little kids. They're really respectful and mannerly. They're like, oh, hola, buenos dias, but like on the pitch, they get a bit wild on the soccer pitch.
Oh man, of course, dude. Like that's the lifeblood there. Football over there, come on.
yeah, they do get wild with that. They do lose their tempers. It's Latin culture, Latin temperament. Okay, what's up, guys? Hope you're enjoying the podcast between myself and Colin. So, here's a quick tip for you here in Medellin, in keeping with the theme of the video about safety versus so-called danger of Medellin in Colombia. When it comes to dating and seeing women, assuming speaking mostly to a male audience, same probably goes for women who are meeting men, or for all the LGBTQ people as well, of course, meeting the same sex. Why bother with Tinder? I say give it a miss, give it a wide berth. It's simply not worth your time or your effort or the risk involved. Let me explain why. So, although the risk is low, there is a risk of strange shenanigans happening by meeting someone on Tinder. It hasn't happened to me, but I've seen how it could happen. And you see the red flags by the strange behavior of the women you match with at times, and the questions they ask you, and I just unmatched at that point. And to be honest, I've just dropped it altogether. I just don't bother with Tinder now, because it's all this weird questioning and stuff, and you think this doesn't sound good, this doesn't sound like somebody I want to meet. And then the second reason is we're in a country of 50 plus million here, where people live outdoors. There's sport happening everywhere. There's swimming pools. There's outdoor coffee shops like with sunny terraces, where every day you have the opportunity to sit and chat with people and exchange numbers and get to know them that way. So why bother wasting your time or your effort and add in to the formula the risk associated with Tinder? Just don't bother. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoy when you come to Medellin. Stay safe and enjoy. To me, what I look at is like, what's your chances of having a pleasant day, right?
Yeah.
Here, you have a much greater chance of having a pleasant day from morning to night, going to the gym, going to your swimming pool, going to the metro, going on a date. Like, you don't get into a mean mugging situation. You don't get into an argument about, like, say, giving the wrong change. If a lady gives you the wrong change back or something, that's not going to escalate into an argument. And I do feel like in Irish culture, it's all a bit more surly, and like we're not smiling as much, and the chances of things being unpleasant in daily dialogue are much higher.
Yeah.
Here, like it's just so pleasant. Like I just obviously I play into it a bit. Like I'm a gringo, and like I give a smile and I get a bigger smile than a Colombian will, and I have a greater chance of getting people to join into my vox pops. It doesn't mean I'm guaranteed, because there's also some anti-gringo sentiments, like
Yeah.
some parts of the culture which I have no control over, which I have to acquiesce and understand, you know. But overall, I'm like, there's that. Even if a lady's thinking, "Oh, he's a gringo," I don't particularly vibe with his culture. Like, I'm not getting a bad look, you know, and I'm not getting any negativity.
Man, they're generally happier in Medellin. Like it's just much more like when you're meeting someone new, whether it be a taxi driver, whether it be someone at a shop, it is much more friendly. That first interaction. That's what I noticed living in Medellin. I loved that.
Yeah,
I loved how friendly the people were there. So I
they really
completely
are, and it's true friendliness as well. Like I feel like, you know, so I've got mixed feelings of Thailand, where it was my home for 6 years. I do still love it in many ways, but I'm also realistic about how truly friendly Thais are with the big Y, Sawadee Krap.
right.
I think it's a little bit overplayed. They oversell tourism a little bit. And I like here how, like, they talk to me more like, okay, there's still a bit of a wow factor, but I like that the interaction in seconds is more like, hey, Paul, like, are you enjoying the World Cup? And like, yeah, I'm getting the questions of curiosity, but it's the difference of me to them is here, whereas like me, the Farang in Thailand is much wider.
Bro, it's definitely more genuine. But man, I know we have less than a minute
Genuine,
here.
yeah.
Just want to wrap it up real quick. I mean, man, like I love that you hopped on. I love that we could just have this conversation after living in Medellin, both of us. I think this was great. I'm excited to
It
out there
really
to give. Let's just give people like another perspective. It's not as bad as what I think the media is putting out there. Medellin is safe in a lot of different regards, and we'll put tips throughout the video about how you can feel safer in Medellin. But man, this was great. Glad you could jump on here with me.
Mucho gusto, man. My pleasure. It was all my pleasure, or whatever the expression is. I'm forgetting my English sometimes. Thanks to you for having me on, and being able to get my message out about Medellin. And good luck with your channel, Colin.
Yeah, you too, dude.
Videos. Very good stuff.
I'm kind of at this weird in-between stage of my life, coming from Colombia, moving to New York. I kind of feel out of place. Like I love a lot about New York and Boston and the States, but I also love a lot about Colombia and living in other countries. So I'm at this weird in-between stage of my life. But you guys,
but just the tip there is that, like, with this lifestyle we get to leave there, don't find yourself getting into a spot like, oh, why can't I settle into a place? Kind of embrace the movement. I almost see move until you find the one, until you find a girl that makes you want it. Like, of course I've had that in Thailand as well. I had 2 really good relationships out there. They didn't finalize, but like, I'm actually really excited now that I'm here in Medellin and I can go to Mexico next week. You don't want to be continually, perpetually moving. You need base, you need stability, friendship circles, right? But I think a couple of bases a year keeps things interesting too. If you can do it,
I think it's the best. I think also it's like while there's some instability there, it's also the best way to live at the same time. I think
keeps you on your toes, keeps you excited. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome, dude. I think this is great. I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Yeah.